from the John DeVito Broadcast Center. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another broadcast of Armchair Experts with Jim Leon and Rich Massaro on the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network on Wednesday, January the 16th, the year 2019. And now here they are, left over from 2018, Jim and Rich.
Yeah, nobody's thrown us out yet.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, nobody's thrown us out. We're leftovers, just...
Yeah, we're still here.
We're still here. There's still some tinsel on us and an ornament or two.
Yeah, I saw that Jim was contemplating taking his Christmas tree down. I think the date I saw was January 12th.
January 12th.
Yeah.
It's down. It's boxed away. Haven't put it out in the garage yet, but it's boxed away. And I think Dana found everything, all the other ornaments that were around.
I was talking to a friend of mine that he bought one of these trees with the lights already attached.
That's the one we've got. Actually, this used to be her mom and dad's tree. So
as I was talking to him, he was cutting all the lights off the tree because they never worked, apparently, and the little gadget you get with them to repair the ones that are out didn't work. So he said, I'm keeping the tree, but we're buying other lights for next year.
No, ours has lights, and actually, I was surprised when we took it. It'd been in her mom's closet at Spring Meadows, and she moved down here, and I did not want to haul our big tree in from the garage and put it up. So I said, let's do simple. So we took her tree, and nice little 4-foot tree, put it on the table, plugged it in. Done.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah, those are nice.
Got a few got a few small ornaments and put it on. Done. We're good. So, are we done with the Bears? No, we aren't done with the Bears. Nobody is ever done with the Bears. I'm thinking Cody Parkey might have a future as maybe a co-host on the Today Show.
Did you? I never really figured out what the big deal about him being on the Today Show was.
He apparently did not tell the Bears.
What is he? Does he have to tell them everything?
Well, apparently.
Apparently,
they just did not feel the fact that he didn't tell them that he was going to an appearance, and he is under contract to them.
In other words, it was another good excuse to get rid of him.
I think he may have looked at this and says, "Hell, what the hell? I'm probably gone anyhow." So,
yeah, that's a good point too.
He might have thought that.
I mean, you know what? Actually, when they signed Cody Parkey, and he's got more of a history than this, but when they signed him from Miami, he had played at Miami.
He also played for the Eagles.
Well, that's the part I didn't know. But
I didn't realize
there was
that.
warning signals that went up because here's a warm weather city that he kicks in.
Yeah.
And a warm weather division, and he's coming up here to kick. But as you said, he kicked for the Eagles. I think he was all pro one year, 2015 or 16 or something. And that just didn't work for him with the Bears.
I guess Robbie's available now.
Yeah, although the way it's sounding there, I don't think they're even going to think about trying to sign him. It sounds the way they're putting it, if Parkey stays, he'll have competition. If he doesn't stay, they'll bring in like a veteran retreat, if you want to put it that way, and they bring in some free agent kickers.
Yeah.
I guess there's a couple of good kickers in the college ranks that they've talked about, but whoever knows if those guys are going to pan out.
And I thought too, there's 4th round, 5th round, 6th round. There's usually a kicker out there.
Yeah, somebody will be out there, and you never really know who's going to be successful. I think it's really hard to judge.
Yeah, I haven't even begun to look at anything as to who's available and possible for the draft.
I saw somewhere, and I can't remember where this guy's from. I think he might be from one of the mountain states, like Utah or something. A guy that they were calling the right-footed Janikowski. Big guy like that, and
Big
I
Polish,
can't remember
big Polish
his name.
fella.
No, this guy was not Polish, but I mean, just he resembled Janikowski in stature, I guess.
Oh,
So
Janikowski's about what? 82 years old now.
he's probably about 40, I would think. I would say
Still around?
He's still kicking pretty well.
Still around.
Yeah, is he with Seattle now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's with Seattle.
I remember when he first came, and we had some real kicking issues with the Bears, and Mike North had said, "Hey, let's take this guy with the first pick," because we had lost. I don't remember what year this would have been, but we had lost quite a few tight games because our kicking was not very well good.
Did he come out in 84? Janikowski?
I don't know. No, I don't think he's been around that long.
No.
No, that
No,
would be
no,
impossible.
He's not. That's impossible.
Yeah.
That's. I'm thinking that when Butler was taken in the '84 draft, that's the one I'm thinking of.
Oh, no, this would have been later on. I don't know who even would have been coaching at the time, but
Now you got me. Now you got me curious.
I thought that North had a decent argument at that point because when you start to lose games because of the kicker. Oh, here's the other thing though, Jim. I know everybody. The most convenient thing is to lay this on Parkey, and he's obviously got his share of the blame. But in that particular game, what else did you see that could have been better?
Jackson wasn't in.
Yeah,
Trey Burton didn't play.
that should have raised all the warning flags right there.
That should have been there because you put Shaheen in, and Shaheen, I think, one decent play, or one or two decent catches. Mm-hmm. But he didn't play. He didn't play with the first. He didn't work with the first string all week prior to that. So you have to wonder what came out of the playbook, or what came out of the plan.
Yeah.
Just simply because Shaheen was in it.
What I mean by that should have set up red flags right away is that
2000 draft Janikowski was
2000.
taken.
Okay, that would have to me that's what I'm talking about is typical Bear luck. Okay, all of a sudden, one of your best receivers that you thought was available for the game, last minute isn't. This should have told all of us don't even bother to watch the game because the Bears are going to lose.
That's so Bear.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And, again, I looked at the thing and I thought, okay, when they got that touchdown late in the game and they went for two, should they have just kicked instead? It was a good idea to go for two.
Yeah.
It was a good idea to go for two, but, again, I guess Nagy, I guess the only thing I like is sometimes he tries to cute it up. Mm-hmm. And with defensive players in there and this and that and I don't know, put the ball down on two, hand it off to somebody, and let them bang through. Well, which is what they did, and it didn't work.
As long as what he does works, it does. Who cares what he does? But when it doesn't work, then everybody questions it.
Yeah.
To me, I don't. I think the big thing for the Bears is the changes in the defensive coaching staff now.
Now, that is going to be interesting, and you have to wonder with the changes that are being made. Ed Donatell's gone.
Staley and
there's like four coaches on the defensive side gone.
Well,
either two went out to Denver with Fangio, and two were let go.
Well, I know that they're saying that, I don't know how you say his name, Pyers, the inside linebackers coach, is not going to be back. I don't know who the other one you're referring to is. So.
Let's see. What's today? Today's Wednesday.
Yeah. I really, you know what? I looked at the paper. The only person that I saw them mention was, of course, there's the article there.
Okay. Donatel and Staley are going to Denver. Glenn Pires won't return.
Yeah.
And maybe Pires and somebody else. Somebody else was told he's...
I saw they let go of a guy that I didn't even know was a coach. I think it was Roy Anderson.
Yeah,
or Ron Anderson or something.
that's the one. That's the
I
one.
don't know what I've never even heard his name mentioned in the paper, but I saw it on the internet, and I was like, "Who the heck is that?"
Yeah,
I don't know what he
who is
coaches.
he? Yeah.
I think the thing, not to say that Pagano couldn't be just as successful as Fangio, but the one drawback is Fangio has been thinking this defense through for a while now, and sort of fine-tuning it, where now Pagano, even though he's a veteran coach, comes on, and you have to decide how you want to work with this personnel. And, it could end up maybe being even better, possibly, but it might take a little while.
It can be, and I think the plus is you have the defense is young, and you have so many of those core players that are going to be with the team next year. I noticed they exercised the option on Leonard Floyd.
Well, that's good because he's played well.
He's played well, and he's gotten better.
Yeah.
But you have so many of the core players that are going to be that are still going to be with the team.
I think the one thing that you might see that really would be a big upside for the defense is Fangio had a tendency to be really conservative depending on the situation. In other words, let's not get burnt. Let's play it safe. I got a kick out of watching. I think it was the Eagles game, the way our DBs were playing, and I think a lot of it was because you had a couple guys in there who weren't our regulars, with Callahan and Jackson out. But prior to that, last year when they played the Niners, and they were out of safeties, everybody was injured, so they signed Chris Prosinski real quick. And my distinct impression of that game was Prosinski's whole job that game was don't let anybody get behind you. We don't care if they complete a pass in front of you. And basically that's what he did, just made sure that he made the tackles on the passes. And there was a lot of passes completed by Garoppolo.
Bend, don't break.
And,
don't break.
Well, the other thing is you got a guy who's probably not really in football shape, really hasn't been playing with the team all year.
True.
But even now in the Eagles game, you didn't see as much pressure because they were dropping linebackers into coverage to help out the DBs that, McManus isn't a regular, Bush is not a regular. Yeah. So I think he was being cautious and trying to give those guys some help. So you didn't see, you'd see Floyd or Mack or Smith dropping into coverage more often.
Yeah. And I think the one thing I've heard, and Pagano, and I'm going back to trying to remember when he was defensive coordinator with Baltimore, plays very aggressive and likes to blitz.
Yeah, that's what they say.
And he does, I don't see this issue, well, it's, we got to have a 3-4 defense. Well, it's a package that they put in. Sometimes it's a 3-4. Sometimes you look at it and you go, what is that? That's 4 people on. There's 4 guys up there.
Yeah, it
varies. It's going to be a different look each time.
The interesting thing, even though the 3-4 is pretty much the defense for the NFL, I always find it interesting that when you listen to the quarterbacks, if you can hear them, they always call out who they think on a particular defensive setup is the middle linebacker. And so for all intents and purposes, they're looking at a 3-4, but they're still thinking of one man as being the middle linebacker.
Right.
Which is...
they're looking at a 3-4, but they're thinking 4-3.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that usually clues the line in on blocking and whatnot, but it's an interesting thing that as you say, they're running a 3-4, but the offense is still looking at it as a 4-3.
Yeah, yeah. And again, I think it's good that they have, as far as the defense, you've got basically the same players, because what's going to make the defense? The plays? What's going to make the defense? The formation or the players?
The players. But here's the thing, Jim. Like in '85, when the Bears then changed from Buddy Ryan to Vince Tobin, I think the big difference was the scheme, if you want to put it that way, because you took guys who did one thing really well, and you put them in another set. They were good enough to make that work, but I think they were a lot less effective. I think the thing here is because of the way Pagano plays, this defense actually has a chance to be better and more effective.
Well, when Vince Tobin took over in '86,
all the stats were better.
The stats were better,
but there's still. Here's the way I look at it, Jim. '85 and before, they put the fear of God in the other teams. But the way Tobin played, they took that part of their game away. Okay, they still were a good defense.
They still were really great defense,
and the numbers were all good, but they were not the same. Not the same defense.
No. Well, it'll be interesting to see coaching changes. What happens with them?
Well, it's interesting when you look at the guy that the Packers picked. The heck is his name now? Can't even think.
Yeah,
of it.
Him.
What's his name?
What's his name?
But
who did the Browns hire as a coach? Their new head coach, Freddie Fender. What was
Freddie Fender? Freddie Kitchens, right?
Freddie Kitchens.
Yeah. Well, here's the whole thing. It's interesting that, to me, John Elway, who's obviously a Hall of Fame quarterback, and has really zeroed in on the quarterback position in his time at Denver as an executive, hires Vic Fangio as his coach. And I thought initially they were going to hire Gary Kubiak as the OC. And I thought, well, yeah, okay, so that's his game plan. But then I'm pretty sure that I read this right. Fangio actually put the kibosh on Kubiak.
I heard that.
Because now Kubiak is in Minnesota.
Oh, did he go to Minnesota?
Yeah, he's in Minnesota.
He had been sort of a quality control consultant, I think, in Denver.
Because he was the head coach and left because of his health.
Right.
Yeah. And he's not the OC in Minnesota. He's got probably more of a title like what you're talking about, quality control or whatever. But he's going to be involved. He could be the quarterback's coach. I don't know. It's interesting. But who the heck did I just? Then, I mean, Fangio. One thing you got to say for Fangio, he's his own man, because then I just saw they hired Mike Munchak to be the offensive line coach. And
in Denver?
Yeah, in Denver.
Oh,
and
he was also being considered. He was
the other candidate, strong candidate for the head coaching spot.
Oh.
So Fangio, put it this way, Fangio may or may not be successful there, but he's not afraid to surround himself with people that the ones he wants, and strong people, quality people.
Yeah. Well, interesting. I didn't realize Munchak got hired.
Yeah, Munchak just got hired. And I always get him and who's the other guy? Mike Mularkey, a little bit confused, but I don't think Munchak's been a head coach yet. Mularkey has, though.
Mularkey was a head coach.
Tennessee, I think.
Tennessee. Is he the head coach there now?
No. It's I think Frank Reich might be the head coach
yeah.
there.
I'm getting it. No, or is Frank Reich in Indianapolis?
He's in Indianapolis. The guy who's in Tennessee, I don't even know his name.
I get them all confused.
Yeah, and they come and go so quick that you never know.
Yeah.
What do you think? I have to ask you this: are the Sox actually in the Manny Machado race?
Yeah, we'll get to that one. Let's talk playoffs. Playoffs.
What
playoffs?
Playoffs ended when the ball hit the upright for me.
Gee whiz.
Although, you know what? It's interesting. I don't remember the last time this happened, where you have the top two teams in each division going into the division championship game.
Yeah, yeah. And it's interesting, too. You want the Rams, you get 3.5 points.
Okay.
You want New England, you get 3 points. And I guess the weather on Sunday in Kansas City is supposed to be awful.
Well, that's interesting.
There's talking like below zero.
Oh, wow, that type of awful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. The Patriots seem to be able to play in almost any weather.
Patriots seem to play, and it seems like certainly after the game, their last game, they're trying to make a statement that they ain't dead yet.
Yeah, they made it. I thought San Diego had a good chance to go in there and beat
Los
them.
Angeles, no.
Oh, yeah, Los Angeles.
They are the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah, I thought they could go in there and beat them, but
I really thought they could, too.
yeah.
But they just
You know what? I mean, the Patriots jumped right on them.
right
on them.
right from the beginning.
That helps.
Yeah.
That helps a lot. I have to ask you this. A guy put out on Facebook yesterday about Kareem Hunt versus Colin Kaepernick, and I responded to him and I said, Hunt is still, going to be a good player, so somebody's going to want him. Kaepernick, I thought, sort of caught lightning in a bottle for 1 year and never was really that good after that. So.
Yeah.
And the guy basically agreed with me.
Yeah.
But
I would agree with you, too.
I see that Morrissey is already saying, I guess he's the social agenda warrior or something. This would be terrible if we got Kareem Hunt. I'm like, who really gives a shit? I mean, you know what? Honestly, if he hit a woman or something, I don't condone that. But is that honestly in today's Sun-Times Potash? Really, Mark Potash came in and he said, the way things are today, it's like if you do something like that, you're banned from life. You're banned from everything for life. It shouldn't be that way.
You've got all the clauses in the contract about, performance on and off the field.
Yeah.
And I want to know that even though, by the way, did you hear any of the end of the season press conference with Pace? And,
no.
Obviously they weren't happy with Cody Parkey, but we've already discussed that. But Nagy called Kareem Hunt. He said, just to talk.
Yeah.
Just to talk about this.
Yeah.
The big question I would wonder is, considering their when they did a similar situation a few years ago when they signed Ray McDonald.
Yeah.
And that. How is Virginia?
Oh, well,
how is Mom going to react?
That is something to consider.
Yeah. Because Mom looks still like, watching her in the game, watching her at that game, I thought, well, okay, she'll do this, then she'll go off to her Zumba class with the lady who owns with the 95-year-old lady who owns the Lions.
You know what, Jim? If you told me that the league was going to let Kareem Hunt back in and he wanted to sign with the Bears, I'd say sign him. I mean,
you still don't know. They still don't know if he's going to be.
He'll be back.
They put him on the
He'll be back.
commissioner's exempt list, but there's been no other discussion as to whether there'll be a suspension or whatever.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure that he's going to be back, and then if I was the Bears, I'd sign him. Even if you're going to keep, say, Jordan Howard, I'd still sign him. You saw the thing that sort of indicate to me that maybe and Jordan Howard is a damn good back. But it's for some reason, I don't know if it's the way he was used as much as himself. He just wasn't that as effective as they wanted him to be in this offense, and Hunt would fit this offense much better.
I think I think what Jordan Howard maybe has one more year here. And, people are saying, well, trade him for a draft pick. You're not going to get much for a running back.
Yeah.
If you get a third round, God bless.
Yeah.
trade him for a first-round draft pick. No, not going to happen.
Yeah.
Not going to happen. If they sign him, okay.
No, well, it's true. I mean, to me, the way they run the offense, if you had both of them, there's probably more than enough room for both of them.
More than enough to go around.
Yeah, I agree. But when we started to use Mizell a little bit more, you sort of got the idea that there was a reason behind that, because I think the way Nagy was thinking, he potentially could do a little bit more in the offense than maybe Howard. Not to say he's as good a player as Howard, but he's got the skill set that they're looking for.
Yeah, Howard's a good running back. It's just not
real good.
It's just not a fit here. And I mean, considering the way they used him this year, I mean, he still wound up with over 900 yards.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. And you know what? Here's the other thing. I liked Nagy was consistent. All of a sudden, you had writers who, we've got to get into the modern age with our offense. So we get into the modern age. Now they're beefing because Howard's not running the ball enough. And Nagy's response basically was, we're going to do what the situation dictates, or what the particular team that we're playing against dictates.
Sure.
And I said, to me, those are the magic words. That's the way it should be.
That's the way it should be, and that's the way it wasn't being done.
Yeah.
Up until this year.
Yeah.
And I like his approach.
Yeah, no, I think he's got a good approach. I honestly, though, I think this year is going to set him up in the future for a lot of heat, because now almost everything that he does, other than a big long run in the playoffs, is going to be a letdown.
Right.
So then the other thing I would predict, I think it's like clockwork. It's going to happen. All of the gadgets and everything he used this year, none of them will work next year. So
everybody will figure it out.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is once they set the schedule, once they knew what teams they were going to play, and the fact that they finished first, well, you're going to play a first place schedule.
Right. Yeah.
And everybody thinks, oh well, we're going to go 12-4 next year. No,
I don't think so.
I don't think so. No. I would be shocked if they went 12-4.
Although I think that in my the way I look at it, I think they've become now the best team in the conference, or the
at least right now.
Yeah,
right now,
because and they earned it, because what did they do? Go 5-1 against their conference rivals. I think they lost the first game to the Packers, and they won everything else. Right? They beat the Vikings twice. They beat the Lions twiise.
Yeah, they split with the Packers. Yeah.
So I think they've established that they at least. Here's the other thing, though, as far as next year. Are we going to be lucky enough to be as healthy as we were this year?
That's the other point I was just about to bring up. They got they were very lucky. They were very lucky with the fact that there weren't any major injuries. You had Trubisky out for 2 games with his shoulder.
Yeah.
And you put your backup quarterback in, and you went 1-1, which would be expected.
That's fine. Yeah.
Which is expected.
Yeah. I think they went super conservative with that, because the Giants game could be a win. I'm not sure if Trubisky was ready, but I think if they had that to do over again, and said we could have ended up 13-3, and what, would we take a gamble and bring Trubisky back, and hopefully because that changes the whole playoff picture.
Yeah.
So you could second guess and everything all day long, but at the end of the day, I think that they always erred on the side of caution, didn't put anybody out there, and you know what, I saw, and it's a good thing, they gave the new conditioning guys credit.
Oh yeah,
but I have to say, I think all the conditioning guys know their stuff. It's just the luck of the draw. Are you there when the team gets big time hurt, or you're there when the team is healthy? and that makes or breaks your reputation. But I don't really think those guys have anything to do with it in my world. I mean, maybe
the year before when Fox was here, they were talking about, well, we've got all this monitoring that we're putting on them, and we're doing this, and we're monitoring this, and we're monitoring that, and they still had a ton of injuries.
Yeah. And you know what? I mean, maybe it's the way Nagy runs his practices. I give him credit because when everybody was sort of on the fence about when he rested all of his starters that one exhibition game, maybe that helped instead of possibly getting people hurt in that game. He backed off of it and
you also had the situation last year where you had 5 exhibition games.
Yeah, they had 5 exhibition games
because they were the Hall of Fame.
Right.
So I could understand that.
There's another interesting thing, Jim. I think it might have been the year the Bears won the Super Bowl when they still played 6 exhibition games. I don't know if they even won one of those, and they end up winning the Super Bowl.
They're meaningless.
And this year,
they're meaningless.
Did they even win one of those? I think they might have won one.
They won one game.
So if you were judging on preseason, you'd say, oh, same old Bears, but. Well, they got better as the year went on. I'll tell you what, I love. One day, I think it was when they played the Jets. I didn't see the game, but I had the game on radio for most of the day. It was so interesting to listen to the game on radio because as you're listening to it, I had confidence in every offensive call that they made. Not to say every play was successful, but I just have a ton of confidence in the way whoever's doing the play calling, I would assume Nagy, is calling the plays. I just like the way he mixes it up. I like the way he attacks a defense, and when we hired him, I had no clue what he was going to be like. I really, in my world, I like the way he does it. Hopefully that won't change. And the other thing is, I think I have a ton of confidence in Trubisky. People have a tendency to point at his, okay, he still makes some bad throws, but you know what? I look at it the way I'm looking at. Sort of was thinking about Jeremy Colleton and Joel Quenneville, and that change with the Hawks, and saying when you're Joel Quenneville, okay.
By the way, just let Colin Delia in the net and forget about Cam Ward.
I don't know about that, but because you got a really small sample size on Delia, so
true.
But when your mindset, if you're Joel Quenneville, is, you know what? We've always competed for the Stanley Cup. So to make a long story short, you have new guys in your system. They make a mistake, all of a sudden they're a healthy scratch. With the new coach, you're more looking at the glass half full with those guys and say, okay, we think these guys have potential. We're going to ride out the mistakes and let them play and learn how to play the game and make the mistakes and learn from the mistakes. And I think I see the same thing with Nagy and Trubisky. Okay, does he still make mistakes? Yeah. But I think the glass is more than half full.
I do too.
And you have to ride, okay, he's going to make some bad throws. But overall, I think you have a solid quarterback.
You have a solid quarterback. Is he going to be a great Hall of Fame quarterback? Sample size is too small.
Yeah.
Is he going to be a good, serviceable quarterback? Hell yes.
Yeah.
Hell yes. I did have to laugh. I'm always prowling around on Facebook, especially with some of the Boers and Bernstein and 670 The Score, because people find things posted elsewhere and share them, and some of them are laughable.
Okay.
Like one guy posted on one board somewhere that they should sign Joe Flacco to a long-term contract and get rid of Trubisky. He can't throw worth anything. And they should hire John Fox as a DC because he knows the players.
Wow, that one's out there.
Wow.
There's a guy who's thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
Way outside the box.
Yeah.
He's like thinking about things that could probably never even happen ever.
It was, and what's always funny then is to watch the comments.
Oh, I could imagine
that
that.
come
yeah.
back,
Yeah.
and I'm great for one to find some GIF comments and post them up there. I think my comment back was some guy just looking and going, no.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
And I had another one of a picture of Tommy Lee Jones holding a newspaper and looking over his glasses at someone, and the caption is implied facepalm. When something is so stupid it doesn't deserve a real facepalm.
Oh man, that is pretty bad.
Yeah. And I think he's going to be. I think he's. You look at him and you go, I think the thing I enjoyed the most watching this year was to see the improvement from early in the season as you progressed on
Yeah.
through late in the season.
Yeah. No,
He still has a tendency. I think there's an issue still that he's got to work with his accuracy and timing a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
I think he still has a tendency, although it's not as bad as at the beginning of the season, to get happy feet back there.
Yeah.
But I think he's really going to be a damn good quarterback.
Yeah. Well, I think he's got a tendency to. He doesn't shy away from the tight situations. I think he plays really well in those. And if I was going to take, if I wanted a quarterback and wanted him to grade high in one area, that's an area I would want him to grade high in. Mm-hmm. You could make mistakes, but you know what? Let's put it this way: we got the ball back. We had a nice run back in the Eagles game. He put us in a position where we should have won the game.
What
Absolutely. What more do you want him to do?
Absolutely.
So
there was some question about. I think some people criticized clock management, that they could have done things a little bit better, but he still got you down there. He still got you down there.
Well, when you criticize somebody criticizes clock management, you want to make that kick with almost no time left on the clock. So the clock management, I would say, was probably what they wanted.
Well, I think they talked about clock management in the fact that you could have taken another run at the end zone or got him down closer.
Well, what do we have? One timeout left?
He had one timeout left.
And I'm pretty sure we used it.
Yeah, at that point, sure.
Yeah.
Well, anyhow, we move on. All right, playoffs this weekend. Rams versus New Orleans. I like New Orleans.
Do you?
I like New Orleans.
I don't know. I sort of like the Rams.
Yeah.
I don't think New Orleans had a really super hot streak. I think now Breeze is, not that he's playing bad, but he's come back down to earth. I like the way the Rams played against the Cowboys.
Rams
overall.
played well against the Cowboys.
The big thing is they're on the road, how they're going to do there. But
Yeah.
I think I'll take the Rams.
Yeah. And Kansas City versus New England.
I'll take Kansas City. Yeah, I mean,
I'm torn on this one. I think New England still has something that they want to prove.
oh, they always, as long as you got Brady.
As long as you've got Brady, I don't care if he is 41 years old.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't think that it's a matter of. For me, it's not a matter of Brady or say Mahomes. I think for me, it's just a matter of you're playing in Kansas City. I don't think the conditions are going to be ideal for either team. I just think I'll take the home team. That's all. That's the only thing I'm going to say.
Okay, and I'll take the road team.
Okay.
Just for
the heck of it.
Just for the hell of it. I think just for the hell of it. We'll
Yep.
see. And by the time we get together the next time, we'll have forgotten who we
Yeah, we forgot who did we pick. Well, we probably have a Super Bowl champion by then, right?
Yeah.
We
yeah,
should.
Super
We might.
Bowl is
Yeah.
second.
The second, yeah.
Yeah, next time we get together, we'll be talking spring training.
Ooh.
We'll be talking spring training.
I saw Bob Lupo just posted something today that we're 30 days or so away from spring training, maybe less.
Something like that.
Do we still have to take a break, John, or no?
No.
We can keep going, right?
We can do a make-believe station break.
Nah, we don't have to do that.
We don't need to do that. I never like to do those anyhow.
Yeah.
We don't have to worry about on a clear day how far you can hear us.
Yeah.
You know. Oh, John just gave us blessings to
That's
see.
good.
John just gave us blessings to talk dirty
That's
on
right.
the air.
We don't need the priest anymore.
We can talk dirty now. I had a thought here. I think by the next time we get together, Baseball Hall of Fame should have their next class.
Oh, that'd be good.
Last I saw that with about now that some of these guys publicize their votes, with about 45% of the vote being tabulated already and being reported, Mariano Rivera has 100% is on 100% of the ballots.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I guess he's deserving, no doubt about it.
Yeah, and
Thanks, John.
Bonds and
That's good. Thank you.
Bonds and Clemens. Good. Thank you, John. Bonds and Clemens have slipped below 75%. But they're at about 72.3, 72.4.
Okay.
You know. I was starting yesterday, and I kind of got sidetracked on it to look at baseballreference.com just to look at the players out there and what their stats are. And some of the discussions on the Facebook boards make me laugh.
Really?
Yeah. Some guy referred to Jim Edmonds as the greatest center fielder ever to play the game.
Oh my gosh.
And why isn't he getting any consideration for the Hall of Fame? Well, he didn't get enough votes to stay on the ballot for a starter.
Where was this guy from?
I don't know, but I think everybody kind of basically said, did you ever hear of a fellow named Mays?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's a few that you could name.
Yeah.
We had Mays, we had DiMaggio, we had Mantle. And there's I'm probably missing some other really good ones.
I mean, just off the top of...
Right, those three you could name right off the top of your head.
And some others are talking up. They think Juan Pierre should be in consideration for the Hall of Fame.
Is that based on his sabermetrics or something?
I don't know what they based it on, because I could go look at the sabermetrics and go...
Because this wasn't on my mind, but what sort of pissed me off is who was the DeGrom, right? He won the Cy Young.
Yeah, with 10 victories.
With 10 victories because of sabermetrics.
And didn't he have like a 1.76 ERA or something like that? Oh, by the way, I'll give you a trivia question.
Okay.
Name the ball player who, combined with his son, had 302 victories in the major leagues, and combined with his sons, still had 302 victories in the major league.
Oh, geez, I don't know. Let's see.
I'll give you a hint. He passed away this week.
Oh, yeah, okay. Mel Stottlemyre then?
Junior and senior combined for 302 victories.
Okay.
And the third son, who got a chance to pitch in the major leagues, went 0-1.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
Saber comes up. There is a thing every day called Horsehide Trivia, and I get the email, and some of it's very interesting.
yeah, that's a fun one.
That's
What I don't know. That just left me cold though. The DeGrom with a 10-9 record.
10-9 and about 1.7 something ERA.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give him his ERA.
Yeah.
But when you get, you got a guy like Max Scherzer or Kershaw actually was hurt quite a bit, but Scherzer, I guess maybe they just didn't want to give it to Scherzer again. Maybe that could be the bottom line. But when the sabermetrics start to take that big of a role, I got to start to object.
And I think we talked about this last time, the big to-do over Harold Baines getting in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
If you look at his page on baseballreference.com and go down to similarity scores, in other words, what players is he most like him
Yeah.
in their careers? You look at 4 of the top 5 that are most like him, all Hall of Famers.
Yeah, no, I believe that.
You know,
When let's put it this way: when Harold Baines was playing, because I'm not a Sox fan, so I sort of disregarded Harold Baines. But I mean, in retrospect, when you think about it, I mean, just really a good player, and I don't think I think he's deserving of being in the Hall of Fame.
I think he is too.
He's got a lot. His stats are huge.
Yeah, I think he's got the great stats, and I don't know if the fact that he spent so much of his career, a lot of his career is DH, is that's something that people are saying is a detraction. But then again, you've got Edgar Martinez, this is his last year on the ballot.
Okay.
And I think, if you look at the Hall of Fame standard, if you look at Bill James' little Hall of Fame standards that he puts together about how many times somebody led the league, how many times somebody was in the top 10, how does he compare to other Hall of Famers? And that, he's a borderline Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you want to throw in Jaws and War in there, it still looks at it, to me, borderline. Good ball player.
Yeah.
Good ball player.
Yeah, to me, I really don't care. I mean, about the Hall of Fame. What's interesting, Jim? Bill Dameyer died this past week.
I saw that. Yeah.
So I go to the wake, and then there was a bunch of the guys who I played softball with there. So we went across the street and had a couple drinks and chatted for 2 or 3 hours. I have a friend who's on the Hall of Fame committee for 16-inch softball. He has approached me. Write something up. You'll get in. And we talked about it. Then you know what the consensus among the guys was, because there's like a half a dozen of us, and all guys who played the whole time we had the team. And I said, you know what? Okay, the Hall of Fame, that's great. But you know what? We really would look forward to getting all the guys back together again, just to have a nice time one more time.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, geez, you're talking about, we had the team, maybe it's probably 25 or 30 years ago. It was a great time. We had a really good team. I think based on who's in the Hall of Fame, we deserve to be in. But here's the thing. I'm not going to feel any different the day after we're in than I feel right now. I mean, that's the reality of it. I'm lucky enough to be in a Hall of Fame, and it doesn't mean anything. I mean, I like it. I'm glad. I'm happy. But it didn't do anything to change my life.
Didn't give you better parking space.
Yeah. So, that's... So what? It's sort of, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of these guys. What's the big deal when you go to the Hall of Fame? Everybody is say the baseball, football. Those are the ones we hear the most about.
The only two
Everybody's
I've been to.
Jazzed about seeing the other Hall of Famers who come back. I would say it would be the same thing in our case with 16-inch softball. Seeing guys we knew, being with guys we were teammates with. So it's more of a social thing. It's an honor, but when the day is done, it doesn't mean that much.
Yeah, and I was starting to look at especially after this whole thing with Baines and Lee Smith, and I think Lee Smith deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. I mean,
oh yeah, dominant pitcher
in his time.
Sure.
But I started to look, and I didn't go through all of them. I started to look at some of the players who were selected by the Veterans Committee.
Mm-hmm.
And, a couple of them I looked at, and one I went, Ray Schalk?
Ray Schalk
is in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I know. Ray
selected
Schalk
by the Veterans Committee.
I thought Ray Schalk was like one of the almost original guys. He was like in the second class.
No. It was in the 50s that he went in. and it was selected by the Veterans Committee, and a lot of people said that the Veterans Committee selections, and I didn't go through it, back in the days when Frankie Frisch was alive, he said, well, he picked all those that were drinking buddies of his. You know,
Yeah.
you had the things that were said that when Nelson Fox missed getting into the Hall of Fame by like 0.3% when he was still on the ballot,
Yeah.
and finally went in through a Veterans Committee vote. The story that I heard, and you don't know if it was true, was Al Lopez really was one that blocked him because he didn't get along with Fox, which surprised me.
Well, you know what you would, isn't it? What's really going through my mind as you talk about this is how much of an advantage it is for a player to be on a winning team. You could be, from my own experience, there's guys that played that I know of that I think could be Hall of Famers. They had, but you know what? Because in the big leagues, we were, an average team. Nobody knows who those guys are. Some people do, but they're not going to be Hall of Famers because we weren't national champions. We weren't guys who were. I'm not saying they don't deserve it, but the guys who are shoo-ins are guys who played with teams that were perennial national champions. So it's a huge advantage. So I guess what I'm thinking about is there are probably some guys who are overlooked strictly because of where they played.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe there's some deserving guys out there that the Veterans Committee looks at and say, hey, this guy was really good, but he played on a lousy team for the most part. I mean, look at what happened to Santo.
I was just about to say that.
I mean,
in every election, Joe Morgan had to get on the radio and defend himself because I didn't block him.
Yeah. So I just think it's it's a tough call. You don't know why people are voting the way they're voting. Like that's an interesting thing that Lopez didn't get along with Fox. That surprises me.
That surprised me, but I remember that coming out that he didn't get along with Fox.
I was talking to somebody the other day that's a Sox fan, and they said the guy said, I can't stand Yolmer Sanchez. Yeah, every time he gets on base, he does. I don't know. I haven't noticed this, but I guess he does I don't know if these are rabbit ears, but he does something with his hands on his head. And he goes, if Carlton Fisk was still playing, he'd probably straighten him out like he did Deion Sanders. And I said to the guy, you know what? I think Carlton Fisk would like Yolmer Sanchez.
I think he would too.
Because Yolmer is, he's not a great skilled player, but he plays the game the right way.
Yeah. There was, when I was driving here today, I had the score on. And Dan Bernstein brought up the point about are the younger people getting disconnected from the game, simply watching the game, because of old school mentality that still prevails in baseball? He said, if you want to see something that's really, really enjoyable, he said, if you are out on social media and can find somebody on a Twitter feed that will post highlights from the Latin American Winter League games,
mm-hmm.
you see ball players having a hell of a lot of fun
mm-hmm.
out there. And he brought up somebody, and I forgot his name, but him hitting a home run in a particular game, and it was one of those where he swung hard on it and dropped down to one knee. He stayed in the batter's box and watched it.
Mm-hmm.
Knelt in the batter's box. You do that up here, the next time you come up, it's going to be right between your eyes. But he also described him as looking like a human version of the Flyers mascot, Gritty. And he said they're having fun, and you can see the fans are having fun.
Hey, I honestly, of course, we're in Chicago, so we see the Cubs a lot, and
you see one guy out there who has a lot of fun when he plays.
Well, what I'm saying though is, I think the fans are out there having fun regardless.
I think what he's talking about is the disconnection in the TV audience.
Oh, the TV. Well, I don't know. I don't know about the TV audience, but
Yeah.
What you're making me think about is, did you see that James Harden has like a string of, it's 13 or 17 30-point games, at least 30-point games in a row?
No. Really?
Yeah, he's got a big streak going, and yes, let's see. I guess the thing
I haven't been following, so let me.
Well, the big thing that I'm thinking about is, now one of the criticisms you get is the NBA has almost gone to the other extreme where you have no defense at all. And what has he got?
The other night they played Memphis. Harden had 57.
57, yeah. But he's got a streak of plus 30 games going, plus 30-point games going.
After scoring a season-high 57 points in Houston's win over the Memphis Grizzlies on Monday night, James Harden was asked how he was able to put Sunday's loss to Orlando when he went 1 for 17 from three-point range behind him so quickly. I went 1 for 17? That's a lot of threes missed. Oh, wow. Then the reigning MVP, who scored 38 points against the Magic despite that terrible statistics, got serious when asked if it's easy to forget about such a night. He says, yeah, because if I make 6 of them, it's on. It's a 60-point game, so Orlando got lucky last night.
See, there you go.
Yeah. Harden extended his streak of 30-point games to 17 by halftime, pouring in a franchise record 36 on the way to send Houston to a 112-94 victory. It's the longest streak since Wilt Chamberlain had 20 straight games of at least 30 points in 1964.
Okay. Well, do you think a lot of this, let's just say, I'm a big believer in things being cyclical. So, like you see the pass happy. Well, you see the more wide open offenses in the NFL. But if you go back to, say, the 50s, they were pretty wide open then, even though people probably wouldn't think it. So then that became that tightened up a little bit, and
you're going to go through you're going to go through another cycle. I heard an interesting interview earlier in the season with someone. Wish I could remember. I was listening to Lawrence Holmes, and he had the guy. And Holmes has some interesting conversations with people. But he was a writer, and I can't remember if he was on The Athletic or if he was a blogger or whatever, but they talked about the wide open, the pass-happy offenses and the way things are going. I think this was right after the Rams-Chiefs game with 105 points scored that night. And he said, is there a way to stop this? And the guy said, no, not right now. But there will be. There will be.
Yeah.
I mean, you brought up the point a little while ago. You brought up the name Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah.
He grabbed, he kind of captured lightning in a bottle, but then suddenly everybody figured him out.
Yeah. Exactly.
And RG3.
Yeah.
Of course, injuries
kind of
contributed to his downfall. But Kaepernick, everybody figured him out.
I think the Bears, if they can continue defensively what they're doing, it's possible that type of defense could change things, because look at the way they shut down the Rams.
Right.
A high-scoring offense. And then you saw the next week, who was the
Vikings?
The Vikings, whoever the Rams played, actually sort of copycatted what the Bears did. I can't remember who the Rams played.
Yeah. They had 2 bad games in a row.
Yeah. So, that sports writer is right on the money. Somebody, maybe not right now, but somebody will figure it out, and then things will change again.
Yeah.
I would say this. I like sort of, not that we've had any success really, but Jim Boylan has basically pretty much said,
Slow it down.
you know, yeah, we don't have the guys to go out there and be shooting, you know. And I don't know, you know what, honestly, I'm beginning to think that that these coaches, say Boylan in this case, he may not have really any control over what's going on in that court to a great extent, because you still go out and you get blown out by Golden State, and you try to slow it down. I don't think these guys want to do it. I really don't think they want to do it. They talk a good game about winning, but I don't think they really want to do it.
It was interesting in that Golden State game. I noticed a stat on the box score as I looked at here. I guess I never paid that much attention to it before, because it's a very common one in hockey when you see plus minus.
Yeah.
But I see plus minus.
Yeah, they started doing plus minus, I guess,
on
for
the NBA.
basketball.
And looking at how bad the Bulls were that night.
Yeah.
When you see one guy out there for 17 minutes and he has a plus minus of minus 17,
Yeah.
you begin to wonder, what in the hell is going on?
Yeah, no, I hear you. So,
Yeah.
well, they're not playing. You know, they say Levine, for instance, is not really a good defensive player. So how do you put it this way? Parker doesn't play defense.
No, and
very
he admits
well.
it.
You know, he'll say he doesn't.
He lost the his opening press conference by, I didn't come here to play defense.
Yeah. So what do you? I don't know. How do you win? How do you win? You know.
And where's Norm Van Leer's number, who was spinning in his grave when he said that?
Yeah, he wears Norm's number on top of it. I just think that somebody has got to put their foot on the brake in the NBA, because not everybody is going to have. When you look at the firepower that the Warriors have,
Yeah.
plus you know what, you got some lunch pail guys who are there to clean up when they're not shooting well. You got a guy like Draymond Green who, you know, my understanding is Thibodeau. That's who Thibodeau wanted in that draft, and I think they ended up taking Teague. That was the draft where, at least if you can believe what you read, Paxson or Foreman or whatever got talked into taking Teague by who's the coach down there, Carl at Kentucky.
Oh, Calipari.
And you know,
They got conned by a con man.
Yeah, I mean, who would you rather have?
Yeah,
Draymond Green or
yeah. Hey, Spartan.
But you know what? I saw. I'm not a pro scout, but I saw Draymond Green play a few times in college, and you know the biggest knock anybody could come up with for him is he played 4 years. So that's not supposed to happen, and you can't be good if you played 4 years. I saw him play. I go, this guy's a good player. He's a guy you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the Bulls should have taken him. I mean, he's probably as valuable on that Warrior team as anybody else.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. All right, I can't think of any other problems we need to solve right now. Machado, Bryce Harper.
I don't know.
Harper's not coming to Chicago.
No, he's there's no chance. But
And Machado, well, his brother-in-law is here.
his brother-in-law's here. His buddy's here.
His buddy is here.
I don't know if that means anything.
I don't know if that'll mean anything. Do I think he would be a good fit here with the young ball club? No.
Not really.
No.
I don't think so.
No. And you're still in a process of trying to figure out how well your pieces are going to fit together.
You know, the other thing is with the Sox. You know, I think Kenny Williams has taken back the reins back over. When you look at some of these signings, not that they're bad players, but you know, you got John Jay, you got McCann.
Hey, I like John Jay.
No, they're good players.
Good ball player.
But where did your youth movement go? You got Jay, you got McCann, you got Castillo is back for his second year. You sign Alonso. So where are you going with this? I mean, how many young guys are going to get knocked out of the box while you play
Well, I think one bit of currency that I suspect will be used at some point during this season is Jose Abreu
It looks that way.
will be off somewhere else, and maybe some young talent come from that.
Okay, but we got a ton of young talent, and we're not even using that.
And we're not sure how well they're going to fit.
Well, that's the other thing, and we've talked about this before. You grabbed all this young talent from here, there, and everywhere, and most of it's not homegrown.
Right.
And how is that going to work?
Right. And who knows what the Cubs are going to do.
Well, I think the Cubs are smart to stand pat.
I think they are too. And the Bulls will probably sign Derrick Rose in the offseason, so
John will be happy with
get
that.
your Derrick Rose jersey out again, and he'll be happy with that. So
Is Derrick Rose, was he number one on the Bulls?
Yeah.
Or what was his number? One, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, somebody said, they got to retire his number, put it up in the rafters.
Oh, wow. John,
My response to that is,
John will get you the tickets for that game.
yeah, we'll get you tickets for the Derrick Rose retirement ceremony. Yeah, uniform retirement.
I hope they put some chewing gum on the street so I get stuck in traffic.
I thought you were going to say, I hope when they retire his jersey, he's still in it and they haul him up.
Oh, that would have been a good one, John.
There would have been a good one. All right. Let's get out of here. I can't think of any other problems we need to solve today.
We could. You know what? We could talk about plenty, but I'm a little punchy, so let's
and
just
I've
get out of here.
got 2 more stops to make today, accounting-wise.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So I got to go drop something off at one client and then go spend my time in the dungeon with the architect.
Hey, the architect back on the grid.
Yeah, I got to see if I can finish him off for the year. I think I've come to the conclusion after 48 years of doing what I'm doing, I'm sick of it. I'm just sick of it.
You sounded pretty sick of it when you walked in, Jim. That's all I can say.
Yeah. So don't anybody come to me with your problems this year. I'll just look at you and go, so?
No new clients, no new customers.
No, I did send some email out to people just to remind them I'll be back in the usual spot. Actually, I heard from Bill Papish.
Bill.
Andy Ronstadt. Excuse me, Andy Ronstadt.
Okay.
Okay. Dropped me a line back.
Okay.
I said, I just want to let people know when I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure they appreciate that.
Yeah. Usual cast of all-stars.
Of course.
All right. Text time if you need me. Get in touch with us and we'll decide.
I noticed that he's looking right at John when he says that.
No, John, you don't need to file. You give me your stuff, I'll look at it, and I'll go here. You don't need to file. Well, we'll see about him.
Yeah.
We'll have to talk about him.
Yeah.
I'll solve everyone's problems, maybe one more year.
Yeah.
And then I'm running away.
That's it, huh?
That's it.
You're heading for the Smoky Mountains or
I'm
something.
going to run away somewhere. I don't know.
I don't blame you.
Dana and I were looking at each other and go, we need to run away somewhere. And we were actually going to say, well, hell, how about overnight at the Hotel Indigo in Naperville this weekend?
Ooh,
nice
there you go.
place.
The Hotel Indigo. huh?
Beautiful place. I was there for a breakfast meeting this week. Really nice.
You're a South Sider now, Jim. You
And-
get all these places that are
And
south.
we looked at it and said, yeah, it's going to snow. That means we got to drive.
Yeah, you don't want to be doing
I don't
that.
want to do that.
How much snow are we supposed to get? Anybody know?
6 to 10 inches, I think, is what I've heard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
quite a bit.
It'll keep John home.
Yeah,
He'll look out the back window,
yeah.
look at the snowfall.
And are we
All right.
supposed to get a little bit tomorrow, too?
I think there was something like that.
Like an inch, maybe? Or?
I don't know. All right. Well,
I
enough.
I had called my friend Saturday night, this coming Saturday night. My sister and I were supposed to go meet Dennis Aarons, who's the president of the 511 Club. And we're supposed to go to his house for dinner Saturday night. But looking at the forecaster on the computer and listening to Brent Miller on the television, we decided we're going to postpone the dinner because we're supposed to get quite a bit of snow Saturday and Sunday from what they're saying.
All right. I'm looking forward to it.
So I am staying home, yes, because I just don't.
You can walk to the bar.
I just
Yeah,
don't feel like
no problem.
driving up to Wisconsin in a snowstorm.
No problem.
You can walk to the bar. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to get out of here. We'll do this again sometime next month, and we'll figure out other problems to solve. We'll start to take notes of things we want to talk about, and then by the time we get around to doing this, we'll have forgotten everything.
Of course.
All right, and we'll come in and ad-lib it again. All right, that's it. We had some fun. Hope you did too. Look for us on Facebook, or find us on WindyCityHometown.com. And you can link to us and listen to us and leave us comments about our brilliance.
Yeah.
Until that time, we're Taillights.
You have been listening to Armchair Experts from the John DeVito Broadcast Center on Wednesday, January the 16th, the year 2019, on the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network with Jim Leon and Rich Massaro. This broadcast was directed by John DeVito, and our special thanks to the executive producer of Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network, Mr. John Chicanda. This broadcast was pre-recorded on Wednesday, January the 16th, the year 2019. Until next time, friends, please be safe and thanks for listening.